Hey Klongo, welcome. Yeah, we'll have another stream. This is the third one today, but it's Friday, so I have some free time. Need to do some changes to the Reconquer though, which is just map making, it's not playing anything. I'll need to write a little summary. Seth has noted that the wolves, I've been talking about in Zachord recently, there's been someone asking about, oh, why are the natives attacking me? And it was because the native overlay doesn't show you aqueducts, and it's often when people wall in the wolves with aqueducts that you trigger the natives. However, in the RC, you don't need to do that because the wolves are used strategically where they don't eat your immigrants. But people still sometimes do that. The whole point is, even if you use the wolves perfectly, like as good as that feature can ever be used, it will always still be more of an annoyance, and it can be cleared really quickly anyway. So it's not like they are really an obstacle of any kind. So there are a couple of ways that could be kind of adjusted or changed, but it depends, what the devs want and if there is even a solution to this kind of problem. So the wind up for the stream might be a little bit longer because I'll have to come up with a suggestion. As I said, I'm gonna have to write up a short description of the proposal for the Wolf City Works, so it's gonna take a couple minutes. We have 1 viewer, so I'm also gonna be doing map making, not playing anything, so just take some more time, that's fine. I'm gonna mute the mic though, because you don't need to hear me typing. Hey Augustus, welcome. Third time today. You hope that's gonna become more often? Well, probably not. It's Friday. I have some free time, nothing to do today, and normally throughout the week I really don't have the energy or the time for any big streams. But I just need to respond to something. I was just writing a proposal on dev code for the Wolves, so I was delaying the start a bit. What was I talking about? Yeah, I just generally don't have the energy and the time throughout the week to stream too much. We did have some streams, especially the Ultimate Admiral, because I wanted to play something after work. But today we need to start doing some RC changes again. I have the German version, but I'm not quite happy with the standard RC just yet enough. I'd rather delay it a little and then put it all together. There was an issue with Tarsus as well. There was the huge bug where there was events and messages were missing, which was a big deal. But potentially, with your help, I should have all the German files corrected, where we can just put that version together already. However, there aren't really people asking for that just yet, so I mean, I will make it, but you know, since no one's really asking about it, it's not a priority at the moment. Let's launch the game. I'm probably gonna run some other music. Thea is fine, but I definitely don't want to listen to Season 3 music in the editor because that's gonna be repetitive to an extreme. So I'd rather not run that. I need to decide what kind of other music we want. We could do Stronghold, I guess, but what else could we do? Civ City Room, maybe? Grand Ages Room? I think that's copyrighted. I can't play that. Season 4 music as well. EU4? Probably. It's not the greatest, but it's probably fine to listen to. I am asking for the German version. Yeah, I mean, I do know. And Destination Walker as well. But from just the regular people who come around, I don't see that come up too often. So as I said, it's not like a huge priority for me, but I will do it. Maybe tomorrow. I'll have something throughout the day, but later I should have some time. Okay, should have the latest unstable. Let's check the editor. Gonna go to Mediolanum straight away. I will have to modify the save file as well, but that's okay. There's still some changes I want to do. This is gonna be a bit autistic, by the way, because there are a lot of like tiny things I wanted to adjust. I just didn't have the time for. Like you see this cliff here. I'm not happy with it. Each time I see it, it's a bit of a sore, and I think Seth has written the same thing. There's also some other things he wanted. Maybe a couple unintentional limiters he might change a little. He did, yes. He said this side of the cliff has some repetitive rocks, and this as well. We'll see if we can make it look a little bit better. I also would be open to making this accessible for yet more mines, but there's already a decent amount of mining you can get on this little cliff. So he didn't even use this mining area, really. If it implement a second rock type, that wouldn't be a problem. There are a couple, but they can be repetitive for sure. There are like 2 types, so that would be a third type, I think. But it's, you know, it's more about the art. That would have to be done by an artist, and the code side of things obviously need to be done as well. But you need to have the assets first, and I don't think we have assets for a new rock type. And the bridges you're working. Oh, that's great news. Thank you. Also, this hasn't been changed yet. I've seen someone has fixed it, but maybe it's not approved yet. So we fixed that by adding this so that the player knows that this area is indeed safe. That was another thing Seth said. There are some blockers I should take a look at. Also, I'm not quite happy with this, how this looks specifically. I would rather have it like that. What if we make it a larger rock? That wouldn't work. What if we sprinkle in some tree straw? It looks better. I should definitely focus on the repetition though, because there are repetitive rocks, quite a few. As I mentioned, this is going to be pretty autistic, so you know, we just have to finagle with this until we come to some sort of reasonable look, and the only way to do that really is to just kind of see how it develops when you adjust a tile at a time. This. Not quite fond of that either. I liked that. A lot of these rocks are the OG Mediolanum rocks, by the way. Because underneath all that is still some semblance of the original map, usually, and this is part of that original map. And that's why some of the terrain is very repetitive. Not quite fond of this cliff, we could adjust it. Let's check that blocker. just to figure out why it's hidden in the counting list. So I can tell you what I know. I don't know everything, but from what I understand, the key problem is that bridges were not like regular buildings before. Sephiroth have reworked it. But, hello Seth, welcome. Welcome. Yeah, so you can maybe enlighten us even more. What I know is that the bridge wasn't like a normal building before, because as its irregular shape, it wasn't possible to count it due to it not existing. It was counting as, was it a road, or what was the problem with that? Because it's like with a highway as well before, it wasn't possible to count them at all. Same as plaza, these kinds of things weren't countable. Main reason is that they're not an entity like, say, a housing or a temple or anything like that. The bridge, some idea was to count the arches, but that's probably also a problem. It was a road animation, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I just couldn't, say it well. I thought it was a road. Yeah. So anyway, now you've changed it, right? So Calidus now is trying to make that countable. Could you maybe tell him how to do that? Which would be pretty good. A lot of maps could use that feature. Something I want to see. Yeah, let's see the feedback. I need to see the specific area for the blockers. Yeah, right. A reservoir up here, and a temple right there. I see. This cliffside doesn't look super good anyway, so we could adjust it. I've been, by the way, Seth, if you want to see some changes, if we look at this, I've made it a bit better, but some of these cliffs were the original cliffs. I've included a couple trees, adjusted by a tile. Some repetition still needs to be fixed. I haven't fixed it completely yet, but I can do that. It's more about this general area, which, when it's side by side especially, it kind of looks weird. So I'll have to work more towards that. But I've already added a couple. Tried to adjust the most striking issues, although I don't like this cliffside much. I've roughened up the one that was here, which was very straight. Yeah, glad you like it. Thanks for the feedback, by the way. It's very helpful. I know all from the top of my head, probably have to look at the counting functions. My guess is that they iterate through building array. You can use helper is bridge to check, right? So maybe that helps Calidus. Yeah, also, the change right here. I think you wanted this, and I think it's a good idea. Obviously, it potentially introduces like fourth block here, but why would you do that if you don't need to? So I think it's fine. Like, if someone really wants to build here, I think that they should be allowed to as a consideration, even if it's not optimal. And that's, yeah, this map does have that feel where it's more like a wilderness than anything. And you are not supposed to even use like half of the map, but that was the idea, is how to make it look relatively good without adding all sorts of features, right? Because if it's a buildable area normally, what you do is you'd roughen it up and you would provide incentive to build in a certain way or not. Yeah. That one's fine. The very straight one that you mentioned was a bit of an eyesore. It was the original as well. It wasn't my creation, by the way. Sometimes on these maps, there is just something I overlooked, because there's just a bunch of stuff that's pre-built, and I've built the maps, the new ones, around the terrain to preserve some kind of function to it. But sometimes it means that I've overlooked certain things that I should have changed. But, the thing is, even though RC took like 2 years to do, there are still certain things that I might not notice immediately, because I was focusing way more on the main parts, and then this just kind of, I adjusted it a little bit, of course, but not as much as I perhaps should have. I would like to make this cliff a bit bare. This little shape doesn't make much sense in my eyes. But that's why you need another pair of eyes usually to look at something. Because you spot things that I might otherwise not. And that's kind of useful. Yeah, I'm also glad that the kill zone didn't feel like a huge bother for you, because I know you hate the kill zone, but this map's supposed to teach you what the kill zone even is, as it's quite vital right now with the current military and how it works. And it can work and be fun, I think. But on a map like this, not when you intentionally really cheese it, obviously. Because this one feels like it's pretty natural even if you cheese it. But there are maps where definitely you can exploit the pattern completely. Obviously I could merge it and make it not a thing, but the thing is vital because it's a lesson, and it was a lesson even in the original, even if people, I assume, even people who made the map didn't even know what it is to begin with. But it was even in the original. I can't remember if the argument for the FNC, oh yeah, that's for Calidus, right. You know, the spam marks, yeah, it's probably best because I read stuff that's not for me and my brain cannot comprehend coding. And it's just like, I read something, oh, it's chat, it's good, and then I read something, it's coding, no, rescue me, it's the worst thing ever. No, it's fine. I'm sure it's, you know, an honorable trade. It's not like you are untouchable or anything if you do coding. It's not like you are the... I'm gonna stop. Let's not talk about coding. Quasi asks, what's a kill zone? It's simple. I made a video on it. It's the most recent one on the channel. Basically, it exploits the enemy pathing. And on this map, the idea is that you have this entry and you have this entry. But this entry is much better. I could put towers here. You know, it's a good solid choke point. While this one is like, oh, it leads to my farmland. I don't want to fight here. I don't want to split my forces up. Well, you don't have to. If you wall this in completely, and then you leave this open for the path to lead to the city, but you don't put a gatehouse or anything like that, just a free path. There needs to be at least one tile path to the city itself, and this is closed off. Then they spawn, even from here, they will still see, oh, the valid path is here, and they will try to go there. If they get shot at by units, towers are fine, but units, they will try to bust in, same as if they are in combat. But if they are not engaged, they will follow that path to your intended area. This is Mediolanum, but it's Reconquered. Have you not played Reconquered? I mean, yeah, obviously, but you still have very clear demarked areas where you can build, and there's usually space left. But yes, it's the Reconquered, it's Mediolanum. Yeah. Do towers rock from those ledge advantage points? I worry the rocks will block shots. No, because I think you still don't really know how the tower blocking works. I think you said you do on a stream, but essentially, yeah, this is 8,000 people, I think. It's more than enough, there's more than enough space. I probably assume, Quasi, you are not like a super pro player or anything, so you probably do use the outdated designs and everything, but even then, this map has been beaten by many people. There is enough space. So, how it works is that any tower or any unit can shoot over the flat terrain, as you would expect, but also cliffside is fine. Anything that's not 3 tiles wide is fine. If there is a building like an amphitheater, it's 3 tiles wide, right? It can't shoot through that. If it's a hippodrome, it can't shoot through that. If it's a fort, the building itself, it can't shoot through that. That's why you put your forts here. It kind of limits your fighting a lot. So, the forts, usually you'd put them outside, like here. And if you want to be super autistic, you could like put a little palisade around it, like, oh, this is my outpost or whatever. You can't do that. But, yeah, like putting it next to your towers or even in front is it's a bad thing because those will block shots. The cliffs are okay. Usually you would do like make a clearing, right? Make some towers and then put reduce some of the terrain. If it looks like it's too thick, just reduce it. But usually you can also see as you fight, you know, if it's blocking shots or not. No problem. I'm gonna have to grab something real quick. I'm gonna be right back. You watched me beat Peaceful 6 in an hour live, right? I don't remember. It was bad. Okay. It's possible. As I said, I don't, you know, because we play Caesar all the time. We've kind of come to know what's the best block and everything like that. And like the super basic questions, if someone asks that, it's nothing against you or anything, but it does imply that you might perhaps not know all the things that we do, and that's fine. But if you don't know, this is the Reconquer campaign. I'm the maker of it. I'm updating it right now. It's a reimagination of the original. It's not super extreme. This is still allowing leeway, but obviously it's a custom campaign. Therefore, it's not sandbox. You don't have completely open swathes of land. There are, but usually there is some sort of caveat to it, like it's Mediolanum, you shouldn't be building here. You can, but you know, there is massive Carthaginian attacks. You can use these areas instead. I'll be reworking some of this. I don't like how that looks. Anyway, you can put 20 by 6 here, another one here, 2 blocks sourced from the same supply hub. Really solid. Third one can be fed from the same supply hub if you build in this valley. Each 20 by 6 can fit roughly 3,500 people if you don't min-max it. If you min-max it, it's like 3,800 people. So even this would already be enough plebs to cover the whole map in terms of, you know, population centers. You would need food, obviously. There's farmland. It's not concentrated in one area anymore, so you need to kind of go around. But then you need patricians. Usually you put them here, but you can also have other places for them. It depends. You could even build like here. It's not great because there's this staircase, but the blocks you can come up with in a situation like this are actually one of the coolest because, you know, it will look like nothing else you've ever built. Same as sort of here. It's not the greatest, but the thickness is there. You can still fit some patricians because you don't need too many, and it will also look cool. So that's the idea. Oh no, yeah, of course. But that's because the original campaign leaves something to be desired. And that's an understatement. Especially with design, and you need to realize, like, we play Augustus. A lot of the Augustus stuff is just super powerful, or is just not really made for that campaign. And the maps don't require it, because the trade there is bad, and you cannot even be vindicated for investing into highways or anything like that. While here you can, because the campaign's been made for Augustus and for its features. So those are the reasons for it. But yeah, it is harder, but not extremely so. Hardcore players would still find the RC too easy. So it's sort of in the middle ground, which was the hardest thing about making it, is so it's not completely extreme. Because I could very easily have made it so, but that was not the idea to begin with. So you know, if you like Caesar, maybe check it out. We've all played it. It's pretty solid, I would say. Of course, I made it, but there are a lot of reviews. You can read what people thought. You know, probably worth giving it a shot if you do like Caesar and you like Augustus. Yeah, that was the biggest difficulty in designing it was to make sure that it does that, because it might not look like it, but it's the hardest part about making it. So is to make sure that, you know, even with inefficiency you can still persevere. Because I'm used to making custom maps that are really hard, or I was doing that before in Julius, and so making something like this introduced a potential difficulty in that for me. Because it's also the case that you just cannot physically make a map that's gonna be fit for everyone, but you can kind of make sure that at least it's not gonna exclude like majority of people. So that was the goal there. I'm gonna try to reduce the cliffs here. So this is cliffs. If not, then why the rocks? Oh yeah, it's because this cliff rock is here. I'll try to put a rock here instead. It might look better. That way. There you go. This cliff doesn't look super great now. It's better, I think. As I said, I'm gonna have to get something real quick. I'm gonna be back in a minute. Hashtag code to warn me from not reading that. I appreciate that. What's the optimal block, by the way? Just a giant rectangle, small enough for locals to make half the loop and then return back through the other half? Yes, but the giant rectangle is not a thing. I made videos on this, so like it's the best to just watch those because they focus specifically on like any question you might have. But I can explain it. Best do it in a different environment though, because I can't draw roads here very effectively. Let me just show you. Let's pick whatever, doesn't matter. So this is Tarako Reconquered. It's not the flattest of maps, but shouldn't matter. So the best block, as you say, it's for the walker to return before he starts to coming back the same way, which would be not utilizing the walker efficiently. But what is the perfect length? Well, turns out it's if you do 22 by 6, so 20 tiles, 6 inner tiles. So 6 inner tiles, because you can have 3 houses side by side. More thickness will ruin this. If it's thicker, the walkers will fuck up. This could be a little bit larger. It could go something like this, without an issue. Even that tile would probably be fine. But the key is the thickness, and Bathhouse is the worst walker. You see, they do cover it. And this can fit a lot of people. Also, not just that, but also if it's like, you know, I have terrain in the way. Well, that's the beauty of the 20 by 6 is that you don't need to do like, you know, rigid things. What you can do is keep some space from the side so you can fit houses around here, and then just design it that way. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then a road here. Obviously here we won't have that much space, but that's fine. And then we can curve it. It can be a T shape, it can be a plus shape, it can be whatever we want, and it can still work. It's very adaptable, which is the core strength of this design, is that it never really gets hindered by terrain. No, school and bathhouse will still cover this thing. Bathhouse is as a school. See that? It's fine. It can break if you make it larger than this by, you know, 4 extra tiles width, or sorry, width length. Yes, it can start to break, but normally it wouldn't. I hope it was 22 by 6, not 20 by 6. No, this is a map where I don't have the perfect layout for it. I would need to go into a braindead map to show you. This one also isn't the greatest. Because you cannot line the perfect block a lot of the time, because we build the maps around that block, obviously, because we all know what the best block is. It's been figured out, you know, you can't improve upon perfection, but what you can do is make people experiment with it and try to still utilize it well. Wasting space in the middle, yes, exactly, I'm gonna cover that. Siren, yeah, absolutely braindead, no challenge whatsoever. Nothing to see here, sir. No, siree, nope. 6 tiles middle, and then the tiles itself, let's check. So we make it 22, but 24 by 6 actually, because we counted the road. If it's with a road, it's 24 by 8. So once again, 24 is here. So this should still work. It does, even on a corner, even everywhere. Now, if this is larger, right, you could make it larger. That's a thing you can do. But it starts to introduce a risk. And the risk is that not everywhere will it cover it anymore. Sometimes you can have a situation where you added something to the side, even if it's not connected, like a road, you know, here there's some industry or farms or whatever. It's not connected and there is no direct access, right? Well, now there is, now there isn't. There is no direct access. Still, the walkers will perceive it, because sometimes they see the destinations as 8 tiles away, and they could change their pattern. We don't see it right now. This is still pretty solid. But, even if you play on, oh, this works. Well, you build something, suddenly it might change. That's why lengthening that more than 22x6 introduces a level of randomness to this. And that's a little bit of a problem. So I don't recommend new people to do longer, because you can do almost 4k population per 22x6 already. Why would you want the extra couple houses when the most people care about when they are new is something that works? And this works, and it will almost never break, which is its main strength. But for us, yes, of course, we can even push it further. But not just this, we also, as I mentioned, you can iterate upon the design. Yeah, that's another thing. I should probably show you a city where, no, we use outside houses as well. Braindead map like Saturday Night. I'm behind on science of blocks, says Seth. No, it's fine. I can, let's show it here, it's fine. This was not supposed to be a stream about that, but since we have people asking questions, so I'm happy to explain. It's just that, as I said, the videos are probably easier to follow because I made them specifically to cover that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I don't mean VODs, I mean like real videos, you know, 10 minutes explaining one thing in Caesar, not watching a whole stream or anything. So what we want is 2x2s. Thanks, I did put a lot of effort in them for no gain, and that's just to make people get better at the game. That's what I want. So, you know, it's always glad to, I'm always glad to hear when someone learns something. So we could, for example, make some sort of cursed shade block with this, right? This could work. If there is terrain around it and we wouldn't have the option to build something more rigid, we could do it this way. It will work. I just need to count the tiles properly. So this, I assume, will still work. Yeah. It breaks a little. Right there, one tile, that's fine. And the houses themselves, let's cover that. So, in a block, this is also 22x6, but it just uses that concept to like wrap around it. If there's cliffs, rocks, whatever, or the water, you couldn't do this. But, so we want mergers, right? So we will do mergers, because we want 2x2s. 1x1s are awful, and they are bad for multiple reasons, mainly prosperity. That is, you can also put a house here, by the way, if you put a road here for later. But we want to care about mergers, because 1x1 spots are fine, by the way. Lararia or, you know, prefect, engineer, clinic, barber, all those things can fit in there, and they will not waste the other space. So we want mergers. We could also do 1x1s for mergers later. They will not merge like this, so that's fine. But not just this, but we also want extra housing. This is not good enough, because we would be wasting a ton of space on the outside. So what we could do is just pick a side, usually the one, like if there is farmland here, I would probably keep the services around this area and put the houses on the opposite side. Plus we bring water from like here, and then maybe have another reservoir here. If you really want to, you can plan for it. If it's a block like this. For a regular 22x6, you don't need to worry about water too much, because it ranges the whole thing. And you can even put a fountain in the middle that covers the side. So this would be something relatively reasonable to make. Just put in some services. Now, normally you would want 2 prefects per block. If it's a desert, you want even more than that, because you want like 3 or 4. There is crime. If crime happens, the walker from the prefecture will stop and he will fight the criminal, and that's gonna make him stop and not do the coverage, which is a problem, obviously. Doctor, we also want a bathhouse immediately because of plague. It doesn't matter where it goes, really. I'm just gonna build it. You know, this is I'm showing you how to do it, so it's not really... I'm not gonna play this map, but just so we understand each other. Put it here. Let them move in. Yeah, hardcore, welcome. Forced walkers is the patrician meta, lol, says hardcore. Yeah, I mean, meta is a strong choice of words. However, I think that for patricians it definitely has more merit than doing it for plebs. You know what the main reason is why I don't use forced walkers? Well, one thing is I don't like the idea that I'm gonna eliminate a mechanic of the game, and specifically one that I enjoy. I enjoy walkers, so you know, for me it's a detriment to remove concern. However, that is a real concern with forced walkers, and that is your initial setup time. It's gonna take longer to get the loop. It's gonna take more resources and space to do it than a regular block would. And then also on all of these maps, you want that early time invested as soon as you can start trading the bear, right? So that's why it kind of doesn't make sense usually to invest into something like that. But it can work. It's definitely something that can work. And for patricians, at that point you've basically won, you know, at least in the RC usually. So, you know, yeah, that is a patrician block tutorial, but it's pretty old. I've kind of evolved as well as a player, obviously, so I think I'm using things that I haven't been using earlier when I made some of the earlier videos. But I've been making new ones, so usually, you know, everything's explained at some point or the other. Sarcasm off. I actually still have no idea if there is a patrician meta. I always build their blocks, even if space is plentiful. Do you have a strategy for them? Yes. I covered it in the mergers video. There is a video about housing mergers, and I cover specifically patricians with that. Depends what kind of patricians you want, because the size of the house will determine your block shape. But generally, with palaces, you don't need many, but if you do want many, and there is the best block, the best block for patricians. I have one to show you. Lobotomyville, there we go. This is how one set of services, right? No exploits, nothing like that. You could even have it better if you remove these and put Lararia here. But yeah, this is... If you want like tags harvesting, you could have more. If this was not on the edge, you could have less temples, and you could put at least 3 more in here, and that would still be supported, you know. So I think the theoretical maximum is around 22 if you do use every single tile. Now this here hippodrome, it's not the best. I don't like how the aqueduct is. Could have been done a bit better. Yeah, this is... Let's check the size of this thing. Can I... Okay, I'm gonna just have to rip this up, which, you know, is fine. We just need to measure that. This is 31 by 10. And we don't waste any middle space. Now, if this middle space was larger, that's a key issue. Because the walkers, they hate width. They would not cover that block. But right now, this works. Because they do still see their destination clearly. They do still cover it. But if this was wider, even by 1 tile, you would need to make it way smaller, like cut it here or something. And that's a significant amount of, you know, services that wouldn't go here. Yeah. If you want to optimize for absolute best layout, you would. And also, you might not need all the... You might not need all of this. I think, again, theoretical maximum, 21 or 22 palaces. But this is no life thing. Like, in a real map, where you just don't have the completely open terrain, and you don't, you know... It's just not practical, because what if there is something in the way? Well, there often is, so you'd have to improvise. But if you want taxes, if you want insane prosperity, this is what you would go for. You could even mass it. If there is like a lot of space, you could mass this, obviously. But yeah, same idea with these blocks, right? These are pleb blocks. They support the city. You see they are connected. Supply hub here. This supply hub covers these two. They don't allow access. They cannot go between the two, because if they could, then these markets would start going here, resulting in inefficiency. Right now everything's rock solid, no devolution, everyone's top level. They will not devolve as long as you keep the stockpiles full. And you can keep that simply enough. But the key is not connecting up the blocks, right? And another part is, like on this map, the only kind of interesting thing about it is that this cliffside isn't necessarily large enough for like the absolute sweeping blocks. So you kind of make, you know, things that adjust to the terrain. You still use the cliffside, you use it well. That's kind of fun when you have a map that does that. Obviously, there is still some, you know, autism or decorations or whatever, but not so much. So yeah, that would be the patrician area. I don't think I should cover it more than that. You could also potentially, if you have Venus, Grand Temple, you have Plaza, you might not need all these one by ones everywhere. It's quite possible to, again, Lararia instead in some places, and then not have that in between all the houses. Oh, Jack, welcome. Oh, absolutely, yeah, especially with Julius and Cliff Dwellers. When you can supply labor up cliff. But in Augustus, that's obviously not a concern, unless you play with a global labor pool. But yes, also just building on cliffs, really cool. When you have the flatlands, it's just, there's nothing to prove by building like here. It's just nothing. But yeah, anyway, I hope that explains it. It's a bit tough to cover reliably when someone just asks it on a stream, because I was not supposed to just show this. I was doing my RC changes, but I hope that explains it at least a little bit. Also, Quasi said, in Augustus, do you still need to have intentional health problems so that people don't turn old? You can play with a setting that's 38% fixed labor pool, but that's bad for you because most early game and mid game, you want as many workers as possible on almost any map. You can't really justify that, so that would disable the aging, this setting, right? But it's not great for you. It's been made by someone who didn't understand what the best labor ratio is, so it's not very good. It's already basically in decline. 38% is already declining. And you can also turn on the setting to increase the aging to retirement age to 60. We have plans, yeah, no problem. The devs have plans to rework the aging mechanic and tie it more to health. Because currently the health is counterintuitive. As you said, the perfect city will have bad healthcare on purpose, which means less service workers for a benefit so people can die. But also that means kids are born and kids will not work for 20 years. So that's also a problem. So that core mechanic is misguided, and so we want to really make sure that it makes sense. And there's a way to do that, but it's gonna require a lot of work, and eventually it's gonna be introduced where, you know, we won't punish slow players for just existing, because currently that's what that mechanic essentially does. Especially because it's counterintuitive, and someone might build hospitals even though they don't need to, and then suddenly they struggle with labor because those people don't die, and they play for long because they cannot win quickly. That's just how it works. So hopefully not any longer in the near future. More questions. With 16 palaces, what population of poor people can you have while keeping 100 prosperity? A lot. There's a calculator if you want. It's on my Discord server. There's a calculator made by Arfontana, I think. You can just add the numbers and it will show you. But it depends on the housing level of the plebs, obviously. There is also sentiment in Augustus, so like people get mad if patricians exist, if their housing is lower than what the average is in the city, things like that. But a lot, because the luxury palaces are really powerful. You can offset a lot of squalor with those. On a lot of maps you might need 3x3 patricians, which makes that block even simpler, because you can make it more narrow, meaning it can be even longer, usually. Anyway, what were you doing? Oh yeah, Mediolanum. That's right. Finally? No. I'm glad for the questions. That's what I'm here for. But, as I said, usually it's just better to watch something, because there has been stuff custom made for specifically those needs. So if you ever wonder that, you just, you know, it's not super hard to find out whatever you might need. Let's try to make this cliff a bit better. Yes, reducing the industrial size a little, but I think it's a good sacrifice for this. I remember horns going off non-stop on this map. Of course. It's Mediolanum. It's just natural. The music's kinda weird. Yeah, but I guess we keep the EU4 music. I don't have other soundtrack right now, so don't want to finagle around with that. This side is a bit meh. Like to raise it a little bit. There are no rocks here for mining reasons, but we could add them. There's no real disadvantage to it. Mainly we are gonna focus on finding out what looks the same. This is not the same rock, but it does look kind of weird. I wonder if adding a rock there would make that look a little bit better. So we want to eliminate the things that look too similar, obviously. This is a bit too similar as well. What if we did that? Bear? I think that's better. I'm gonna to have a nice fence. You mean the close? the thing, yeah. Some things never change. No, I remove rocks, but no, tactical my rocks are part of the experience. They're vital, Jake. They're vital. So otherwise, we all know what the best block is. But what if you can't make the branded block? Now you need to improvise, which is what makes it good. But obviously, it does come with its own downsides. Too many can definitely be annoying. That's why I'm pretty scarce with them in their Conquer. But they still exist. Hey, Swazor King, welcome. C3 on Twitch, one of the best games ever. Well, we've basically all played it as kids, I think. The people who still play. But we almost all exclusively use the Augustus mod. If you're not aware of it, it's great. You can get it for free, as long as you own the copy of the game from CD or Steam or whatever. Anyhow, let's change how some of the rocks look. We still do have some similar looking rocks here. True fandom. Maybe you should pick up Augustus then, if you haven't yet. I was kind of wondering if we shouldn't do like a little lake here. For the visual variety, you know. Because that is a little bit here. I would like to change that a little. Emperor Zeus, Pharaoh. Yeah, I mean, not bad games by any means. There's been also some improvements. Because Caesar was a relatively early game of the Impressions Games studio. I like Caesar the most. I like the Roman theme the most. Emperor, conceptually cool, but there are some things that I didn't like the god coverage not being done with temples. I don't necessarily like that, because spamming the gifts to the gods is annoying. Pharaoh, yeah, Pharaoh is solid. Egyptian team works for a city builder for sure, good game. However, also some things. Military balancing in that game is god awful and very hard. Those people are Chuck Norris. they get shot by 15,000 arrows and they don't die. Because in this game, more difficulty just means more enemies. But in Pharaoh, it makes them truck notice, and that's a problem. Also, not quite fond of the respawning animals in that game. And another thing, and this is not to shit on the game or anything. I know there's some people who love Pharaoh, and it's fine. You know, you can love whatever you want. But I'm just not fond of how that's done. Plus, there's another thing. Oh yeah, the juggler school. I don't like the concept of breaking loops on purpose and forcing you to do it. There is a way to exploit it, but I feel like the game shouldn't be doing that. I think that's a design flaw. Time on the pyramids? Yeah, waiting for extremely long time, that's common. But in Augustus we have monuments as well. Augustus implements a ton of things from all the further Impressions games and makes it better, makes sense. Monuments actually give you bonuses and things you want, so it's not just build this thing and then win, but it's a build this thing and benefit, which makes it good.
I've heard there are jobs here. I want to be a lion tamer.
I still am not quite happy with this area, but I don't necessarily make it super, different. It should remain as the Alps on Mediolanum. Where am I from? I am from Czechia. And you're from Sweden, I presume. We do have a couple of Swedes in our community and a lot of Germans, because those kind of people tend to gravitate towards this game, as it seems. But we don't. I don't even ask where people are from, usually, unless you want to tell me, because I'm quite happy with anyone who enjoys the game and comes in, and there's no real issue with that. Quite the contrary, there's, the more people the better, and usually it's also cool to find out that someone from completely different part of the world has been enjoying the game in a similar way. Yeah, and we want as many people as possible as well. Germans gravitate towards Rome. Apparently. Just make it a bait spot for the reservoir. No. That's precisely why I'm making it intentionally not a spot for that. Because I know there is someone in the dark, deep universe of 40,000 millennia, and there is only war and only blockers. And I know there are some people who will see this and, oh, I can't bridge here, or I can't build this or that here. Yeah, no, it's quite clear you can't, which is what we want. You could probably do sand though, if you somehow need sand, you could do that. Even though, why would you when you have this? I don't know. All games with 3 is good. Heroes 3, Season 3, Warcraft 3, yeah, probably not all, but a lot of games in 3 are good. Season 2 is definitely way worse than 3, and 4 is also not to my taste. I don't know if there are Scandinavians here today. We have Fairby, who is a map maker and a mod on Zach's channel, and also part of the dev team on Augustus, and he's not here today, but he frequents the streams. He is from Sweden. It's not a Mark stream if we don't throw some shade towards a certain dev. Of course. How else are gonna keep people in their place, Seth? When will you finally understand? This cliff. I don't like this cliff, I'm gonna be honest. We need to do something about it. It's an injustice. Completely unplayable, worst map ever. We need to fix it. But how? But how? I have an idea. It's a shame we don't have waterfalls yet. Would be a pretty good spot for one. I think that's better, because that little cliff was kind of useless anyway. You could put a tower there or whatever. Yeah, it's not essential. I feel like this will work better. Speedruns? Yeah, no. The part of the main driving force behind the game, like, yeah, winning efficiently and quickly can be really fun, but most people play this for, I don't want to say autism, but you know, building something nice, and it doesn't really facilitate. Like, yeah, you can play the OG campaign and as a speedrun, because that's the only way to make it remotely interesting. But even then you would be probably capped by the game speed, because you would just set up what works and immediately run 500% speed, you know, that sort of deal. There are far better games for speedrunning, I feel like. Colin, coming up with the real questions. I'm so glad I'm not alone on this. I need people to keep bothering Seth about this, because I'm a busy man. I don't have the time in my busy schedule every single day to wake up every morning and then write, please, Seth, implement the native rework. No, we have people for that. That's good. That's how it should be. Claudius, thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah. This cliff also, I would like to move that staircase a little bit. Oh yeah, I did. But it's been ages ago. As I said, I don't particularly favor the speedrun. I don't find it super interesting, but I did watch it, because I'm a freak. I watch anything Caesar. So, you know, I did watch it. There was a spot that Seth didn't like, which was a reservoir spot. Also a Grand Temple spot right here on this little corner, and I will fix that. Let's remove that staircase. Let's make this connection. It's kind of interesting. Could maybe make a path so that the cars can move faster. But we still probably want that staircase in here. For reasons. I'm not a fan of how flat that looks though. So I'd do something like that. Plus this cliff also a bit flat. That still does offer a path, and I think that looks much better. I'm gonna just quickly check something. Did you see the full speedrun? Yep. Luckily, I'm not as busy, and why aren't you answering, Seth? Yes. No, we really need the native rework. I know that it's been becoming sort of a meme, but no, truly, the native rework is very crucial, and the ideas that Arelder came up with for them, and that I helped him also to refine, I feel like would make a great addition, and also just generally improving a mechanic that's overall pretty bad. Like the natives can be used pretty well on custom maps already, yes, but also it's just not super interesting, and that's why you consider it not interesting, I think, to work on, because the natives currently just aren't super good, but they could be. Just imagine all the things they could be, if only work was put towards it. I'm gonna have to check the spot for the reservoir. Oh yeah, it's the cliff. It's the cliff side. We need to adjust that. It's this cliff right here. Now the bad part about adjusting this is I kind of like this water, and that means that I have to make some sacrifices to make this better. Also, this water up here, not the best thing in the known universe. I'd like to make that a bit different. Let's see what we can do with that. This is a reservoir spot, I think. Not quite sure. I think it might be blocked by a rock there, so it's probably not a reservoir. But you can put it here, which is better. A real answer is I'm working on Empire stuff, editor, Empire view updates, new icons, etc. Yes, understandable. But I think deep down you understand why we keep asking for it. Because it's important, Seth. When native rework, Seth. I need to figure out how I want this to look like. That's a reservoir spot right there. Kind of looks interesting now with the snake. Deep down, I feel like I'd rather just remove the natives from the game. Now we are back to square one. We need to engage the Clockwork Orange treatment. I'm sorry, Seth, but you went too far this time. And here I was thinking that we can put away the straitjacket. This cliff? Maybe. Yeah, better. Hidden mechanic mod can only access them via coding. No, I didn't read that. Stop. Just stop. I'm kind of thinking, with this water down here, right, we could make it more interesting. Turgan says, all of a sudden, the idea, can we add rubbles pre-placed on the editor? Yeah, that was suggested as well a while back, but it might have gotten batted. No, we can't do rubble. I can do natives. I can make natives and then collapse them with an event. That's how I did rubble in like Carthago, for example. But you can't place rubble directly. Which is just, you know, unplayable, completely unplayable. Worst mod ever. that. This water, I don't think we want that. This cliff always was a bit awkward, by the way. It does force at a really odd shape, but I do like it for this block, especially because a lot of people do put patricians in here. It's countable editor events in Think 2. What? It's countable by the editor? Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. To figure out how do I want to do the water instead, and I think I might put it on one of the edges, and it makes sense to me to put it here so that you have to plan for that aqueduct. It's possible. I could check for it, but yeah. Yeah, it's just waiting for implementation, I assume. Imagine an event counting roads. Well, yeah, we need that as well. There's, you know, for every odd little thing, there is a map that's waiting to be made with that in mind. So more options is good as long as it doesn't take fucking forever to implement. '25 is the year we got custom earthquakes before rubble. Well, when waterfall, Seth? I want my waterfall. We'll put it right here. Make a little lake. Why? Why can't we have nice things? Now I have to make something cursed instead. Okay. Significant improvement, I would say, to the cliff stuff. Don't quite like that little water tile, but it does kind of add visual variety a little bit. Because you can have custom earthquake. Yep. What nice things, learn to code, never. You don't realize how much of a physical, visceral reaction I have to coding. You do not know. Otherwise you would stop suggesting it. Never. As I told you, multiple I do not do hard manual labor fit for slaves. But I will cheer you on while you work on that. That's fine. Now. This is EU4. Europa Universalis 4. The stage is set. I like EU4 soundtrack a lot. I like their main one the most. Not a start though. Let's listen to this one. I also like Hearts of Iron 4 music, but it's World War II, so it doesn't fit this at all. So that's why I'm not using it. You will get assistance while learning to code. But no, that's you know, that's not a bonus. It's like, no, dude, it's fine. While you will be slaving away in the salt mines, you will be getting an overseer to watch over your shoulder with a whip. Yeah, okay, great. But like, what if I don't get enslaved and put into salt mines instead? Wouldn't that be better for me? I think it would. But, you know, I appreciate all the people putting effort towards improving the mode, and especially with coding. And I do realize the value of that. But, yeah, but it's just not my thing. I'm sorry, I can do a lot of things, but coding is not one of them, and I will never overcome that obstacle. Yeah. And it's fine for people to specialize, you know? Wouldn't want to take your job. No, I would never be good enough for that. But yeah, I just can't do coding, man. It's the worst thing for me. The worst thing. I'm not quite happy with this either. I need to figure out how I want this cliff to look like. What if we did this? That's slightly better. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little bit artificial. I could replace some of the big ones with shrubbery. If we add another coder instead of a mapper, I'll have nothing to play when I leave the mine. Yeah, that's the only good thing you can look forward to after the hard labor in the code mines, is to come back to your family and say, honey, I'm gonna sit down and play a custom map. And when there are no maps play, life is just miserable, isn't it? Makes sense. Complete sense. I want this to be a bit better. I think I like that more. This is pure autism, by the way. We are really doing minor cosmetic changes, but I feel like this map does deserve it. So, yeah, let's spend some time trying to make it even better. Do you think you might give a shot to some other map for my campaign in the future? If you want, but it's up to you. Whenever it's ready for release, I could do testing, but I have more time now than I had before. But it's up to you. And usually I would probably do like one, and then, you know, maybe even 2 streams. I don't like splitting the map for 2 streams, but it might be necessary because I don't know if I can do a run and just complete the thing in one go. He's free calendar in 2035. Request from Crudelius, yeah. Poor Crudelius. Absolutely overloaded with work. Yeah, as I mentioned, this cliff, I'm not quite happy with it, especially because of the visual variety is a bit lacking. I would say that introducing a bit of a jutting out section here could improve that quite a lot. But it could also easily make it look awful, so let's try and see what happens when we add something around here. Is that better? I feel like that's better. This rock is similar to the other one though, so I will do something about it. I don't know. If instead of that, does roughen it up a bit too much, in my opinion. Need an opinion. I think it looks fine, but I don't know. It looks very scrappy, but it's an inaccessible area normally, the other side of this. Carry only descends from the Pantheon to point out when I talk shit about code, and then disappears into the mist with my here GIF. Yep. That's what happened, true story. Not a meme, unfortunately. Yeah. Also very busy. Dragon says, technically all maps are mostly complete. Figuring out fixed campaign events like the bestow and multi-barracks rules, as well as taxing rule to add. But I'm pretty sure some maps do not fit well for stream for the reasons you told. Yep. Because your campaign is very different conceptually, and that's fine. But also, as we discussed, it might not fit the stream overall. If you have specific ones you want me to play, you could make them standalone or tell me which ones you want me to test. I can maybe try to find some time. As long as it's useful for you, because the only thing I need is for that time to be put towards something that makes sense. So as long as I know that it helped you in some way, that's good. But I don't want to just play it for myself, you know. Because, yes, I enjoy the game and all that, but the custom maps, I've not been playing as many custom maps lately. And that's, yes, kind of hurting. I'm a bit rusty with practice, sure, but also I just enjoy making things more than playing a lot of the time. MSDVD. Good luck getting him to code. I think he can. He did a little bit of coding, but it was pretty small additions. But he has good understanding of the game, and I think he really understands the rule of cool, which is important for the game. Because my personal limitation is that I don't understand the rule of cool super well often. Because I don't think, like quite a lot of players do, where something just looks good and it's a value in itself. I usually need other reasons to do something, not just, you know, it looks nice. And that's a flaw, but it gives you a different perspective. So that's why I do respect what he says a lot of the time, even if I don't necessarily always agree. Choose a couple that might be good for you. Okay, good. A lot of XML assets with translation work, but not C. Yeah, MSTVD does also that. He does help with translation, that's correct. And XML and assets. I think, yes, that's true. He also kept like the old files and everything. Talked about that. He gave me the old arrows for the editor work I was doing before. That reminds me, I still have something I need to do, and that is making the Governors Academia tutorial. I have the basics, but it really is a big effort, because making something for completely new people is in a level in itself. Yeah. For sure, Seth came along and suddenly we have nice things that we are asking for absolute ages. And some of them were also thought about not even being possible, which is, you know, really helping the mod a ton. This rock is an eyesore. I need to see if we can come up with something different. If just putting trees here would work, that'd be great. I think it does. Get that visual variety. Okay. This rock right here. Also, there's like 1, 2, 3, side by side 4. We might want to adjust that. This middle one, if it changes, that could be good. Yeah, looks better, I think. There's still these, which also are similar. I could do that. Now there's this and this. Yeah, I mean, there's this one, but I feel like it's far enough away where it looks better. I could move this one rock so that there is a better accessibility here. For some quarries. Kind of stick them into the rocks. Be kind of better than just lining them up, I think. This down here. Yeah, it could use a change. Python isn't Pythoning. Stop talking about snakes all the time. I know, you have a pet snake, it's a python, you feed it every day. You feed it salt. No, I'm aware Python is the scripting. Is it a programming language or is it a program? I don't know. I don't know coding, okay? I just know Python is not a snake, but I see you. I love the Python, okay. I also know some people who are into snakes, but it's a dangerous line you walk there. It's a programming language. Okay. This cliff, right here. Not an immense fan of it. If I do limit it though, it's gonna make this quarry not a thing. Unless I move this rock. Which we could. Well, it's kind of close to the warehouses, you know. Nice place for that. What if we do something different? Yes, tighter, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That doesn't really fit. This would, but it's a bit awkward. If I do that, it's gonna end up being like it was. I think it's a bit better. The cliff. This one I'm also not quite happy with. What about copy under cursor feature for the editor? Yep. Now we are asking the real questions. Yes, honey, is the answer. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Called it. I called it. I can see how you think, Seth. And I must say, I agree. But also, I agree with Turgon, that would be good. Oh no, it's just a jiffy, it's fine. So sorry. This community is just precious. Let's look over some of the other features. I feel like we've really improved the terrain, by the way. It does look way better. But there are still a couple places where that could use an improvement. Namely, this little cliff here. And then maybe... It's kind of cool when there's a bunch of rocks like a quarry side. But... how about we add a staircase leading down this way and then we make that valley cut off from this side, and you have to go to it from here. I think that might be better conceptually than this. It's the same rock as the other one. What if we did that? Thank you. I'm glad you like it. You kind of got me into refining it because I didn't really spend that much time on this part of the map ever. But that's because normally I didn't consider it as important. But it is important. Because it does make you feel like you are actually in a place, not just, you know, an artificial terrarium or whatever. It just makes you really consider things, and if you don't clear all the terrain, then obviously it also will look better when the city is kind of built into the map, which can help a ton. Don't quite like how that looks, but yeah, there we go. That's all right there. This part now doesn't look super great. Let's clear this. Or design that a little. Yeah, when we do events, it's I imagine it's like with coding. It's like, oh, what the fuck? This worked before. Why doesn't it work? Or even better, oh, this shouldn't be working. Why does it work? Oh, that's why. And then you realize the obvious mistake you've made. It's like, yeah, it's basically that's the experience. Let's check. What if we make a staggered cliff? It's a bit tight, but I feel like it does kind of lead towards a bigger mountain, which is kind of cool. So we'll like to keep that. It's gonna reduce the mining sites here a little, but we have this. See, I chose to forget my mistakes in life. Because Kalidas says, I remember every line of code I wrote. Is that fine? I feel like it is. And also, just for certain people. Marek, why isn't this a staircase? It will be. Just for you. I think that should be good. I just need to figure out how to place it and not look like an ass here. I'll see. This not necessarily the greatest. New access to the mines is awesome. Yeah, I think I would like that, because it naturally leads you towards using it for this, instead of forcing the logistics this way, while you can still use it for, like, furniture, or generally timber, what have you. I think it gives the area a more distinct feel, for sure. Mark wants a waterfall there. I would probably like a waterfall, but we don't have that, so I need to just shut the fuck up and make the map. So there was some... Not gonna make anything ever. I don't like this. That part is cursed. And that's not a solution to it. Would this be a solution to it? That would... sort of... be a solution to it. But obviously I need that staircase still. Some can be forested. You can discover it yourself. But the other one is open right away. I would even put some wolves here, but we already have all the wolves. I would have to relocate some. These are kind of pointless though. I would be okay with moving these. But wouldn't it be cruel to lock now your very important mining site behind that? It probably would. Because where else would you mine? Around here, a little bit. There are places obviously, but... I don't know. If I feel like making this a wolf area, and then making it a loop, and then close this off with trees somehow. Make the wolves inhabit this loop. I think it would be better than guarding this, because they often get kind of retarded. But they can run in here, so that's, you know, a thing. Oh, let's keep it as it is, it's fine. Now this little cliff here, also not a tremendous fan of how it looks, but if I do adjust it, I feel like it's just gonna get worse. Maybe not. I imagine with the industry it's gonna look quite nice. There was another area I didn't like. This cliffside is a bit cursed. this. Hopefully slightly better for habitation. So this is still a concern with water, but you can bring it from down here as well as here. This is a bit too straightforward. Also this cliff isn't particularly nice. What if I did that? Suddenly a bit better, if you like. Farm space should be still fine. Perfect bridge here. I know the autos, I hear it speak to me. Say no more. Doesn't mean we won't. No. We could make it so. Also, not quite fond of that. Let's make that. I promise this kind of already looks pretty good, so I don't want to necessarily adjust that. What if it's like that? It makes the water more narrow, but I'm okay with that if we make it the whole thing narrower. So that looks more like it flows this direction. Bridge, bridge, bridge. You can bridge all you want. Obviously, it has to go around the rocks, but still. The ultimate thing would be to allow you to put a granary here, so that you can harvest both of the areas with weaponized autism. But yeah, I don't know if you necessarily want to. Oh, you can bridge here as well. But the rocks add a lot of visual variety to it. If I didn't have the rocks, I feel like it would look way worse. I will try to make something different though. If we do allow a granary, it would be something like this. So there could still be a rock around here. And even here. Yep. That's fine, right? This little straight shore is not my favorite thing on this. But the width is a bit cursed. Make island in the middle exact granary shape, you coward. I didn't even need to read the chat. I know what the people want. I hear them in the distance. I think from this, since I started listening to what you think, I have a little voice in my head that tells me, oh, but, you know, this would benefit autism, Marek. Don't we want that? And the answer is usually no, we shouldn't listen to our inner demons. But sometimes, just sometimes, I'll listen. That. So granite can fit on this island. Now, this rock is the same as this one. That's not the greatest thing. So what I'll do is, I'll do that. These rocks here, also a concern. That one specifically is a bit bad. Let's refine it. Now with this cliff. I know that this cliff serves a purpose. It is to make that housing block kind of work towards your shape. Oh, I want a reservoir here. I want to bring the aqueduct along the cliff. I don't want to intrude upon this, yes, but also this road is a bit too, the cliff is a bit too weird. We will try to adjust that a little. So what's this cliff really? Not a tremendous fan, but that's even worse, I think. Can put the mausoleum down here. I'll clear that space right away. It's gonna be for the mausoleum. Oh, you did that before I finished the map. Yeah, I mean, you could probably replay it. I will also tinker with some of the industry and some of the empire. But, it's not gonna be like a completely fresh experience. But it should maybe at some point be worth a replay. This one here is completely fine. Not everything should fit exactly. We need some challenge. I agree with you on that. Yep. I just need to make it not look so... I don't like this, you see. My pet peeve is just areas that look perfect, but on close inspection are off by one tile or something. I know. I'm well aware. But mind you, it's often not even on purpose. Because the terrain tools are still a bit janky. I can use them well, but even I make mistakes. It's a wee blocky, it is. So what I'll do is... Nah. The rocks don't fit. We need to use the cliff tool. This tile is fine though. It adds a more rugged nature, but this one is a problem. And now the thing is, do we shorten it or do we expand it? I think we expand it, even though it will make it a little bit easier to do, obviously. But I think that's fine. It's still, you know, it's Mediolanum. I feel like the map is early enough in the campaign where it shouldn't be anything, you know, super demanding. Let's make a little cut there. There you go. I think I like that. Doesn't it support a grid? No, it doesn't. But I just don't use grid. I do use it around construction though, so if it applied in the editor when I have it as a setting, when placing things, that would be kinda good. Now, I also don't like this cliff, for the same reason I didn't like this one. But the problem with this one is, there is a reason for this one, and that's the aqueduct system. And if I do expand it, it's gonna make that harder. Huge oversight. Yeah. I mean, it would be kind of good when... Because I use the smallest brush, like, almost exclusively. And that really makes tinkering much harder when I don't have the grid. But, I know that, you know, not everyone does that. Obviously, there are people who just like to use the middle brush or whatever. And the maps, obviously, are not handcrafted to this degree. But for them, it wouldn't make a massive difference. For me, it would. For how I do things. I think I will roughen this up, even if it does make this a little bit harder, because we did expand it by a tile, so it should be fair to do this. And that immediately made it much better. Whereby uses super micro tiny picture brush to make unbridgeable river. No, Seth, you see, I can do that as well, and I have on many maps before, especially on Julius, when we didn't have things to use for complexity much at all. But specifically in the RC, there are some maps where I do limit bridges, but most of them I just kind of, okay, this is like a best bridge spot. And then I add a bunch of optional ones, and it's because I don't particularly feel like it's, you know, a fun thing for everyone, but it is a hardcore thing that we've been using for ages. So, it's, you know, yeah, Fairby uses it, but we basically all use it. And if you play some of the older maps, you will find out that there are often maps where you only have one every bridge and you cannot have another one, even if it looks like it and it's purposefully blocked in that way. That's how it is. I know it can be kind of weird because you don't... again, if you didn't make maps, then this doesn't really make sense to you that much. But for us, that's been one of our core tools. And we didn't have many options before, and so we still are used to that being a thing. Obviously, it's way less pronounced now when we have more options. So you no longer have to just rely on bare bones things to make things interesting. You can introduce your own things into the equation with the events, and that's I think what really makes us like opt out of that. This is a reservoir spot, I will not adjust that one. I think this is looking better already. This cliff on the side of the farmland, not a massive fan of it, but it does have its own purpose. I feel like it's okay as it is. I would probably remove this one rock, so it doesn't feel like it's really needed even. Here, because what would it literally limit? The area is already pretty tight. And this one rock, I might reduce that as well. Idea being, if someone's desperate enough to build here, they probably should be able to. It's not the best idea for stuff to begin with. Okay. What about this one? I haven't touched this one in ages. Yeah, and it shows. The crags are fine. We could make them bigger, but I kind of like when the area is open for... If someone wants to micro, they should probably be able to. That's fine. The only thing that I might have a slight issue is that it doesn't necessarily look the most coherent when we have like a big opening and then these three little fingers. But how to make it more coherent when we have this is the question. Also, as a side note, since we have this, what would really help not make this look so eye-striking? Because this is like, oh, obviously defenses, right? Yes, but it kind of looks isolated. Not know how to call it. When nothing else looks quite like it on the map. We can solve that, and we can solve that by adding a little cliff here, which is gonna have similar feel. Even if there is no practical reason to go here. Yeah, distinctive. Distinct. That would be the word I was looking for. Yep, already looking better. Even when it makes like no discernible difference. I could even, you know, make you be able to path this. Make this your path to the city. If you did that, that would be crazy. Like opening this up, making this staircase your access point, walling this off, and make these people go all the way here. But that would inhibit your immigration too much, I think, because it's just so long. But they would follow it, I think, unless you shoot them here. They would follow it. I don't think we want that, so I'm just not gonna allow that. Just an idea. Inner demon speaking again. And we should probably do so somewhere on the side here as well. Mediolanum veritant. Of course. Yeah, I think that's just not the thing. It's better if we don't do that. Because that's the thing. Sometimes you need to ask yourself if you really should do something, not just that you can. And that's one of those instances where the answer is vehement no. Yeah, it does add that feel that it's not just these two plateaus, it's also this, and that, in my mind, makes it look a bit more cohesive overall, like the map follows some kind of structure. This certainly makes for a better area. I don't necessarily want this area to be good. Let's do that. Just wondering if a rock here would look good. Not necessarily, but it's not the worst thing either. Couple mining sites. I appreciate it to respect my autism and prejudice against coding. Isn't this a bit samey? I think it's better. We've spent so long on this one map. It's but I don't know. I've made Millennium better, which is good. I would want to tinker a little with other things. We've had feedback on military. The cooldown between unlocking the extra forts and first big attack is a bit low. It's small. The thing is, it shouldn't be, but the thing is, at that point you should have the money to immediately start militarizing. Like, you should heavily invest. If you don't, then that's an issue where obviously waiting is no longer a thing. It is a thing earlier though, because you do start the map and it's kind of chill. You don't have attacks for quite a long time. So I don't know if we want that. Because the whole point of that message is it's quite urgent, right? It says, oh, they're crossing the Alps right now, and it's like you need to suddenly do stuff. If there was a bigger cooldown, I feel like more often than not, people would probably be asking, Marek, where is the invasion that I've been told about? Done anything else? But obviously, like, I could be wrong, I'm not always right, but I feel like that would be the case. Otis says, I'll have to go now. Good night. One native rework, yes. See you, Colitis. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. Okay. I feel like terrain-wise, we are probably set. This should be good enough. This road. I need to put back the road. This cliff potentially could use an improvement. How would it look with a rock? Better. How would it look with a slight extension? That's not great. What if it's like that? More crags. What if it's like this? Sure. I don't feel like that's a particular issue. Let's remove that. Don't know how I feel about this river. Will it be narrowed down a little by a tile in this little choke zone here? But yeah, it could use that. Just a moment. I'm always like, oh, I'm done with the terrain, and then I start doing something Ah, I should stop. I think it's fine. But there's no such thing as over-design, right? Thinking about farmland, should be fine. Not sure if this couldn't use a bit of a widening. I feel like that does add something. Solid. Now, events and trade. I need to check my empire map. That is a decent amount of diversification of the economy, so it's not just one thing. That's good. It's so late. I'm getting really tired, by the way. I think we finished just one map and then I'll have to call it. The eastern cities. Oh, by the way, Seth, are you here? Did you do the trade permit event, or did you ignore it? Because you can have so much money that you can just unlock the cities anyway. It's more of a thing for if someone doesn't have the most perfect economy. Then it makes sense, and it is technically, you know, worth it. But the favor malice is definitely there. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. I think I did as well. I could make them more expensive to unlock, but I feel like both approaches should be viable. Yeah, both of them are viable, for sure. Should add an event. There's no events late game, which is a bit of a problem. think they are fine where they are. As I said, both feel valid. Just again, the hard balance to strike. I added some good price changes, some bad price changes. Should hopefully make the economy a bit more engaging. Should an event for wages as well. We need to update info in the message. I'll try to add that this week, like in the title or something. Update info in the message. You mean this? Yeah, I mean naming events, I can already do that, right? But I made these a while ago, so the structure's already set for it, so I'm not gonna go and name them one by one. Show new messages minimized. Right. Default system ones, they like press. Yeah, that. But it's risky because sometimes you do get pop-ups for stuff that just doesn't really, you know. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's you should either have it display on top as an alert, or even if there was like a bottom text box which just had like the most crucial advice part from your advisors run as a text or show up, and when there is an event it would instead replace it with a different color text, that new common event or whatever, and that would be, you know, what happened. I don't think intrusively it would do anything down here in terms of, you know, wasting space or anything like that, but I don't know, might be getting too crowded for some people, as we know that, you know, updating the UI was a massive deal. But yeah, people just have to adapt. I don't know if that would be viable, but yeah, the advisors thing as well as this could be useful. I do play with all messages on because I right click them away when I read them, but I could see why a lot of people wouldn't. Something else you want to do with this? Probably not. Would kind of make sense to make this map a survival time, but I really don't want to add any limits to the RC. Modernize the UI at some point, regardless of the hairs. Yeah, I mean, for sure, people adapt. I think it's just being used to something, and then it changes. Some of these people just don't even mean it in a bad way. It's just they are very used to how everything's structured, because the kind of things weren't really touched much. A few weeks back, Crudelius told me you could make it a glass effect for the button, and I took him seriously. Turned out he was a sarcastic. Yeah. As we discussed, not everything that can be done probably should be done. I don't know. By the way, I'm also rambling. As I said, I'm pretty tired, so, you know. I should finish this map and move on. I don't know if... Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Do we want to keep that extension? I feel like it doesn't... Well, it does add a mine spot. I wasn't happy about it earlier. I just didn't want to let him down. Well, you didn't disappoint him, I'm sure. Getting trolled by Crudelia. I don't know. I feel like this cliff isn't as good as it could be. But I didn't like this. I guess this is slightly better. Although it does introduce this flatland, but it's highwayable. It's for the military. I think it's fine as it is. Yeah. Anything else I would change? We added some price changes. Events. I don't feel like Mediolanum needs more events. It has plenty. Criteria are fine. If anything, I would increase the population cap requirement by like 500, but I think 8,000 is a good goal to have. It leaves a lot of leeway. Which is what we want. Let's save it. Let's create a save so I don't forget. I'm gonna immediately upload this version so that it's ready. No global Liverpool people hissing at the side of highway warehouses? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially now that the roof is mandatory to be connected to the universe. Do you remember, Seth? Do you remember how I told you? You know, I don't play this setting, or like I don't have a problem with that because it wouldn't impact my cities, but I can tell you that I could foresee this being a problem. Because I've watched tons of content and also seen a lot of cities, talked to a lot of people. I know what the sentiment is, and the thing is, a lot of people don't rotate the warehouse, never did, and they just don't want to do it. They want to connect the warehouse from like here and they want it to work. Yeah. But it's not a critique, it's just that there was a reason for it and I kind of predicted it, but I didn't want to predict it because it's honestly, I think it's good change because it makes you consider efficiency better. But obviously, I know, I know, people just don't do that, and now they have to. So, you know, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but I feel like that's an issue for them. And you've seen how strong some people feel about it. It's really a major deal breaker for them. Mothball this and that. Oh, we need to wait a tick. That's right. Month needs to pass. You're set? Oh. Feels good, man. Finally done with this map. Next time we'll do another one. Probably another deeper dive. There are probably some suspects that might need similar treatment in the RC. Thank you. I'm hoping that you are happy with the things I changed. You'll be glad to know that it was useful to hear what you thought. And I'm gonna be looking forward to what you play next and what you tell me about those kinds of maps. So we'll see. I'll have to add you to the list of people working on the RC at this point because you helped me test it. Okay. I'm gonna save. On these rock hills. RC Mediolanum save. There we go. I'm just gonna go and quickly do the Haven upload. That's not something you need to probably witness. It's fine. It's just boring. Anyway, I'm gonna thank everyone for watching. I'll see if I put it on YouTube as a VOD. I might. There's been some good talk. I don't think we were discussing anything secret, so it should be okay to put it up. And oh yeah, Seth is gonna have his own stream at some point. I think he said maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I might try to beat her if it happens. Anyhow, thanks to anyone who was watching. See you guys around. Bye.